Alright, so today we're going to be working on this little Craftsman Snowblower. The gentleman said that it squeaks. It runs okay, he said, but it squeaks. Now he said him and a buddy just put a new belt on. So we're going to see exactly what happened. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, first thing, let's check the oil. It's got oil in it, and it's full. It's not that dirty. Look at the fuel situation. It's got fuel in it. Let's attempt to start it. Let's see, does they have a shut off on there? No. Let's start it real quick and see what it's doing. Oh, why is that? Oh. Why does that feel so weird? There it goes. Okay. Alright. At first it felt a little weird. Why is that? What's going on? Yeah, something doesn't seem right about this little machine. Go ahead and flip it up. There you are. Let's get into this and see exactly what happened down there. Oh, I can already see. Do you see it? Look at all that old material from the old belt. So yeah, there's something going on there. Get you in here a little closer. Whoa! What is going on in there? What happened? Yeah. See, now the stuff can't, what exactly? You gotta clean that up. We have to clean that up. You can't have all that on there. All on the disc and that. Yeah. Critter's been in there. Look at that little nut in there. Chuckles! You been in there? whatever's in there is moving day. So. Oh, look at that. So when they put the belt on, they didn't take the cover off of, obviously all that stuff was in there, but see how this is? So you see that keeper there? That's on, the belt is riding on top of the keeper. Well, that's a no-no, because that keeper keeps that from, of course, slipping off of there. So yeah, you gotta do this stuff right, people. I mean, if you ain't done it before, do your research. Watch YouTube. Okay. Let's loop this off of there from up front. Real quick. Alright, so. Let's try to loop that. Why is that belt so doggone tight anyway? Well, it's because it doesn't have enough room because of the looping action. Let's get that nut off of there and get that belt to get a little loose. Now I'm going to be using my impact because this is going to want to turn on us. There you go. Okay. There a needle nose or something? Now you can put your belt in there properly. Get that thing to slide on there. There you are. That's also your brake too. So, all right. Let's go back up front, up top rather. There she goes. There she goes. Just have to give her a little persuasion. Okay. Make sure that it's on all the way around. See, it slipped off down there. Let's see, you have to be careful. Let's tip it back up. It slipped off down here. Yeah. It happens. See it right here? Got to get it to go all the way around, of course. There we go. There you go. Now it's on there. Now it's on there. There we go. Okay, now let's see if it squeals and all that. Oh, let's check the function real quick. Yeah, let's check the function real quick. See how that is up there now? Before it was kind of like, well, yeah. See, they try to compensate. Someone did. I don't know if they did or what. But you see how droopy that is? That's not good. It needs to be just so when you're just getting ready to gauge it, it catches right about there. Okay? So, make sure that everything looks okay. Now we're going to go ahead and adjust the cable. So, you just take the cable and you unloop it here. You can unscrew this like this. Oh, okay, well, we don't have to unloop it. So just go ahead and tighten it up a little bit. There you go. That's a little bit more. We need a little bit more on it. Put your, can you see what I'm doing there? Let's see. So take your nut. And then you start screwing this one. And then you check it. Right about there. Yep. Now put your nut back down. Lock it in. Let's check the function up front. It looks a lot better. Moving a lot better. Okay, let's start it up. Let's see if we have any more squeals. Alright, we got our door open. Sorry about the lighting. Alright, so put on choke. Pump it a couple times. What's going on? What's going on? Sound like a bearing. Sounds like a bearing. Alright, let's start it back up. You hear that? Let's go do some investigation on that squealing noise. Alright, let's pop this back up. Let's get you back in there. Let's start looking for anything that's loose or anything like that. Let's start from the basics on up to the most difficult. Okay? Okay, that's not loose. Let me check that nut, that center nut, and see if it's tight or not. Before we get any further, we're going to go ahead and check our speed. You see how slow that is? I shouldn't be. There it goes. Okay, it broke loose now. Let's go ahead and take some Scotch-Brite and rough that up a little bit and get those little fine particles of rust off of there. And that'll smooth it up, and then we'll lube it with some non-drip lube. All right, so we got it flipped up here. We're gonna go ahead and clean this surface off with a little Scotch-Brite. Now, I always put a rag down on my disc surface there. So go ahead and keep rolling it over. Get it nice and... If you ever have any problems with your transmission not going back and forth properly, watch. See how slow it is? It's not lubed up, and it's got some spots where you got to rough up with the Scotch-Brite so it's nice and smooth. Make sure you do both, all the sides, and make sure that you rotate it in all directions so you can get a nice, uniform, smooth surface on here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get some lube and lube that up. I'm taking my little container. You know how long I had this? Back in the day. All right, let's see. Not the lube, the container. All right. Some of that on there. There you go. Now switch it. It's getting better. Make sure you don't get none on the wheel, of course. There you go. Now, there you go. Look how nice and smooth that is now. Go ahead and do that a couple of times, back and forth. Okay. And then wipe off your excess, and you can move on. And make sure that none's going to drip down on here. You don't have to use that type of grease. That's what type of grease I use. Any kind of grease will really work that's non-drip. There you go. That's nice. All right. Now let's put our cover back on. There we are. These little grooves down here. Put it in there. And then you're going to squish it a little bit and pop it. Pop it inside there. Okay, got that all buttoned up. I almost forgot. I learned this little trick from Taro Fixes All. Little bag trick. It works every time. Sometimes I forget to do it. But yeah. It keeps from leaking gas out the cap there when you bring it up. I almost forgot to mention that. And I forgot to do that at first. Okay, so now we've done all that. That's all good. We just wanted to button up that bottom to make sure that we're all straight there. Now, we have to see why it's making that squealing noise, but it kind of goes away. My phone, my flashlight's dying. It kind of goes away when you engage the the auger. So I'm thinking it has to do with a pulley or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of research on some of these pulleys, see if there's anything loose or anything like that. It's just a process elimination, basically. That's a little bit better lighting on that side of the shop. Okay. It doesn't seem to be too loose here. Let's check the auger assembly fluid. All else fails, good old drop light does the trick. Alright. Remember when my son was younger, he asked me why is it called a drop light, because I drop it all the time. Yeah. Jokester. You know, you drop it, and you start stealing. Yeah, you know, drop light. You know, you drop it, and then you start stealing all your wife's lamp bulbs in the house and get in trouble. Those was the days, huh? Oh, well, they're still going on. I still do that. Trick here, take a zip tie. I learned this trick from 2 Vintage. Oh, there's very little in there. Oh, that would be our problem. All right, let's get some lube in there. Some of that gear lube. See, it might be too cold. It's like 10 degrees outside. Oh no, it's going in. One eternity later. Yeah, I know. Stuff goes in there slow. Alright, I'll bring you back. Alright, getting the door open. Let's try it one more time. No more squeaky. All right, fantastic. Oh, that wasn't too bad. I really appreciate everybody following along today. Let's get that goofy hat off. Yeah, with that being said, remember, it's just nuts and bolts, and God bless. This wasn't too hard. Just the small things can really jam you up. Thank you so much for sharing, subscribing. Bye-bye now.